Kumusta po mga kapatid? Mukhang lumalapit-lapit na ang konting panormal-normal ng ating buhay. At sa ganito mga panahon, napakarami mga nagpapapray, napakarami mga prayer request, maraming humilig bigla mag-pray. Prayer is a very mysterious force, mysterious power. There is almost very little known about prayer kung tutuusin natin. Kaya parang hit and miss sa mga prayer ng mga tao, mintis dito, tama doon, may nagwo-work, merong parang hindi. Paano nga kaya yan? It is very important to review, to study how Jesus prayed. Kaya ang pag-aaral natin ngayon, isa na namang review, hindi ito bago, pero nawa meron tayong mga makitang bagong pagkaunawa sa prayer when we study and analyze more closely the Jesus prayer. So ang ating pamagat, pag-aaral natin ngayon, Jesus prays. Si Jesus nagdarasal. Jesus taught people to pray. Isang central teaching niya yan. Luke 18:1. Then Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. So, pray. Marami mga kuminsan nagme-message sa akin, nagte-text, paano po ba ako magpe-pray? May sakit ang nanay ko, hindi ko alam kung paano ipagpe-pray. May problema ako, paano po ba ako magpe-pray? Well, to begin with, just pray. Pray from your heart. Wala naman sigurong maling prayer. Meron lang talagang napakatamang prayer, pero wala naman siguro ika-count ang Diyos na maling prayer. Maling paraan ng pagpe-pray. So kung sa palagay mo, hindi mo alam how to pray, mag-pray ka na lang basta from your heart. And then begin from there para ma-develop ang prayer life. Jesus taught people to pray alone. Ito ang napakahalaga nating maintindihan. Matthew 6:6, but when you pray, sabi ni Jesus, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. So una, pupunta ka na sa room mo, tapos isasara mo pa yung pinto. Yung mga iba naman pilosopo, paano po pag walang room? Well, you have to develop a room in your mind. Ang importante dito na itinuturo ni Jesus, dapat private. Dapat may privacy. Dapat kayo lang ng Diyos ang nagtatalastasan, walang ibang kasali, walang ibang kasangkot sa usapan ninyo. How you create that space, physical space, or that space in your mind and in your heart, ikaw na siyempre hindi diskarte nun. Importante yung pumunta ka sa room or the equivalent of room. Ang mahalaga, basta private, unseen by others. Only the Father is the audience, and you are free to not perform. Bakit mahalaga yon? Because many prayers, even especially for others, is better done in private. Para walang performance. Kung minsan makakarinig tayo, wow, ang ganda naman ng prayer mo ate, ang ganda ng prayer mo kuya. Nagandahan yung mga kapwa-tao na nakarinig, pero nagandahan kaya ang Diyos? That's another thing. Kasi yung mga iba, pag pinag-pray mo halimbawa o pinag-lead mo ng prayer, may kodigo, mayroong script para maganda ang dating. And up to a point, nakaka-bless talaga yung gano'n na well-chosen yung words, na swabe, smooth, pero hindi naman tayo ang primary audience kundi ang Diyos. So, ang Diyos kaya nasyahan. Nakita niya kaya yung sincerity, nakita niya kaya yung truthfulness ng prayer na scripted. Hindi naman kung may kodigo o may notes o may script, hindi na truthful. Dahil kung nung kinocompose mo yung prayer, truthful ka naman, di truthful yon. Na ayaw mo lamang na magkaroon ng mga rough edges, na magkamali-mali na mga sasabihin, lalo hindi ka sanay sa public speaking, kung sincere ka nung kinocompose mo yung notes mo, di sincere din yung prayer na yun. Kaya nga, ang sabi ni Jesus, para wala na lang mga ganyang issues, pray in private. Yung wala kang kailangang tao na i-please. Wala kang tao na kailangang i-impress. Walang time limit. Walang kailangan na i-connect mo sa part ng ganitong program, so sa sinundan mo at kasunod. Kasi pagka public prayer, iisipin mo lahat ng mga bagay na yun. Napakahalaga, lalong-lalo sa prayer for the sick, prayer for people with requests, especially prayer for victory against opponents. When people ask me to make that kind of prayer, I'll say, okay, I'll pray alone. I'll pray in private. Alam ko na yung prayer request mo, magpe-pray ako. Why? Because pag walang audience, walang mga nakapaligid, you could pray according to your conviction. You could pray according to the Spirit's leading, not as requested. Kasi may mga panahon na may nagre-request sa'yo magpa-pray, pero deep within you, in your heart of hearts, hindi yun ang gusto mong ipag-pray para sa Kanya. Hindi yun ang leading mo na ipag-pray para sa Kanya. So, alin ang susundin mo? Yung request niya o yung nasa loob mo, yung niloloob mo? Again, masosolve yun kung nagpe-pray ka in private. There was a time na ako'y may kausap na isang may edad na ginang at may sakit siya. Matagal na siyang bedridden. Ang request niya sa akin, nawa ay tawagin na siya ng Panginoon at bawiin na ang kanyang buhay at umuwi na siya sa Panginoon. May mga anak siyang nakapaligid. So, kinailangan ko pang tanungin yung mga anak, agree ba kayo sa prayer ng nanay niyo? Bago ako mag-pray. So, you see, kailangan ko pang kumuha ng mga boto ng mga tao sa paligid. Kasi anong gagawin nila kung sinunod ko yung nanay niya at pinag-pray ko nga na mabawian na ng buhay, ayaw pa pala ng mga anak. So, sino ngayon ang ipiplease ng prayer ko? Well, mabuti naman at yung mga anak din ay agree na rin kung anong gusto ng nanay nila, ginalang nila. So, we prayed that way. Kaya lang, after a few days, nagpatawag yung nanay, bawi daw ang prayer, bawi. Kasi gusto pa niyang mabuhay ng mahaba-haba. For whatever reason. Meron na naman siyang dahilan para humaba ang buhay. Yun ang mga complications ng prayer na may human audience. Pwedeng maging performance, pwedeng magkaroon ng political underpinnings, pwedeng magkaroon ng hidden agenda. Lalong-lalo kung program na malaking-malaki, na gusto mo magpa-impress, maganda ang dating ng prayer mo, minsan nagiging secondary audience yung Diyos. Hindi naman lagi. Pwede namang ang ganda ng prayer, scripted na prayer, memorized prayer, pero sincere pa rin, pero mas maraming complications talaga pag may human audience. Sa pagpapatuloy ng turo ni Jesus about private prayer, sabi niya, pray in private, no? Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So there's a greater opportunity to be blessed when it is done in secret, because apparently, according to Jesus, that's the way the Father likes it to be. Luke 9:18. Once, when Jesus was praying in private, very clear, emphatic. Huwag na natin ituloy yung sentence kasi hindi yun ang lesson natin. Pero introduction, once when Jesus was praying in private. Matthew 14:23. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone. So this is another motif, aside from being alone, mountain. Ang daming prayers ni Jesus sa mountain, sa mountaintop, sa mountainside. Siguro lang dahil napakaraming bundok sa kanyang paligid, pero laging ine-emphasize ng mga nagre-report at nagsusulat yung mountain. Meron bang factor involved yun? Malay natin meron. Kasi nga mahiwaga ang prayer. So kung may bundok ka dyan, nakatabi, o may bundok ka dyan, nakatira ka sa kabundukan, bakit naman hindi ka doon mag-pray? Total, yun ang minodel ni Jesus. Ngayon, kung malayo ka sa mga bundok, wala kang katabing bundok, wala kang mapuntahang bundok, edi mag-create ka ng bundok in your mind. Ang mahalaga sinitingnan mo kung paano nag-pray si Jesus, bakit nga ba ganun? Pero syempre nga, dahil may yun ang natural setting din niya, pwedeng yun lang din naman ang dahilan, pero kung yun lang, bakit pa i-emphasize sa mga writers yung ganung detalye? Matthew 26:36 and 39. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, Sit here while I go over there and pray. Going a little farther, he fell from his face to the ground and prayed. So may mga kasama si Jesus, pero hindi niya niyayang mag-prayer meeting. Hindi niya sabing, o sige, magkapit-kapit tayo ng kamay, mag-pray tayo. No, sabi niya, o dito lang kayo, ako, pupunta pa doon, lalayo-layo pa ako, at doon ako magdarasal. At yun nga ang ginawa ni Jesus. We have nothing against prayer meeting, lalo kapit-kapit kamay, lalo kung pwede na yung ganon, dahil ngayon, di ba, may physical distancing. Pero, halimbawa, at meron gusto mag-pray in groups, there's nothing against that. I mean, there's no teaching against that. Pero si Jesus, ang minodel niya, yun ang pinag-uusapan natin. Hindi nga siya nakipag-pray kasama yung kanyang mga disciples, lumayo-layo pa siya. And interestingly, dahil pinag-uusapan natin yung motif ng bundok, Gethsemane is a valley. It is in the middle of parang two mountain ranges, and there are several mga mini hills around. So there's really something about mountains. Pag-aralan nyo yan, mag-meditate upon it, at baka ma-reveal sa inyo ang dahilan kung bakit mahalaga yung mga bundok-bundok sa prayer ni Jesus. Maybe because of nature elements, sounds, or the peace, the silence, whatever it is, doon nagpe-pray. Madalas si Jesus sa ganong setting. Pray without much words. Isa pa yan sa turo ni Jesus. He taught people to pray without much words. In fact, kung pwedeng without words, mas mainam. Matthew 6:7, and when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. So, huwag na lang daw maraming salita, maraming words, maraming dekorasyon na madalas mangyari sa public prayer. Pagka public, may audience, maraming mga nagli-lead ng public prayer ang nalilibang at nagpe-perform to the gallery, nagiging isang magandang palabas ang kanyang prayer. Hindi lagi, pero once more, there's a big temptation for that. Kasi nga, yung mga human audiences. In private, prayer can be in thought. Pag private lang, mag-isa ka lang nagdarasal, pwedeng hindi mo usalin yung salita. Sa thought lang. So it becomes prayer without and beyond words. Kasi, word has limits. Word is baggage. Lalo kung magpe-pray ka publicly, pati pronunciation mo dapat tama. Magiging conscious ka pa doon. At pagka mali ang pronunciation mo, meron naman mga critics na kasama magpe-pray ang na-offend, magtatawanan, papalihim, kasi nakakatawa halimbawa yung pronunciation mo. At pagka hindi ka masyadong eloquent, hindi masyadong malaki ang iyong bokabularyo, hindi mo na-express talaga exactly what's in your heart pag magpe-pray ka with words. Kaya once more, prayer in private is very powerful and effective because you don't even need words. You don't even need to say anything kahit nasa isip mo pa lang yon na iintindihan na yun ng Diyos. In fact, kahit hindi chronological ang dating ng mga thoughts sa iyong utak, sa iyong isip, sa iyong consciousness, naiintindihan pa rin ng Diyos kahit na rumble-rumble yung prayer mo kasi kaya ng Diyos i-rearrange sa kanyang isip yung iniisip mong magulo. Pero kung may nakikinig na kapwa-tao, kailangan organize yung mga sentences mo. May agreement of subject and predicate. Kailangan tama ang mga tenses. That's why praying in public is very, very challenging. So in private, prayer can be in spirit. Whatever it means to you. Let no one define to you what spirit means. Kailangan ikaw makadevelop ng sarili mong spirituality. Yung organized religion in the last 2,000 years, organized Christianity, Christianity Incorporated, masyadong kinontrol ang prayer. Masyadong scripted ang prayer. Laging may mga standards kung paano ang prayer. At kung may mga prayer meeting, kahit ang mga Bible-based Christians, nakalista sa board ang prayer o electronically nakalista kung ano ipagpe-pray, naka-assign kung sino ang magpe-pray, pati length of time that you can pray. So, controlled lahat. How can you pray in spirit when everything is scripted? Once more, ang sagot, pray in private. Beyond human rules, beyond human conventions, and beyond human communication systems. Importanteng makadevelop tayo ng personal prayer life. Hindi yan madedevelop kung laging organized, controlled, at scripted. In private, prayer can be in bodily gestures, even in dance. Kaya marami mga ancient peoples ng araw, ang prayer nila pasayaw. Kahit sa Pilipinas, marami tayong sayaw na actually prayer yun. Kasi kung pwede mag-pray ang dila with words, kung pwede mag-pray ang mind with thoughts, pwede mag-pray ang body with movements. That's why dance is sacred pagka ginamit mo ng tama. So pwedeng yung prayer mo, nagda-dance ka mag-isa. Gagawin mo ba yun kung public? Pwede kang lumuhod, pwede kang tumayo, pwede kang humiga, pwede kang dumapa. Kasi wala namang tao magkikriticize sa'yo o kailangan unawa ng ginagawa ng katawan mo. Kaya mas may kalayaan to pray privately. And in private, prayer can be in artistic and expressive media. Painter ka, pwede ka ba mag-pray by painting? Why not? Musician ka, pwede ka ba mag-pray by playing music? Why not? Athlete ka, pwede ka bang mag-pray by doing calisthenics or doing athletic contortions? Why not? Naiintindihan ng Diyos yung language ng iyong katawan. Kaya napakahalaga yung freedom, and that freedom is available in private. Private prayer opens the spiritual discourse with God. Wala kang kailangang conditions, walang kailangang ma-meet na requirements, malaya ang kilos ng Espiritu. So, prayer in private opens the communication front on many fronts. Ang daming pwedeng daanan ng communication nyo ng Diyos. In many forms and media. On many levels. To boundless dimensions. That's why prayer becomes a true spiritual experience. Pwede rin naman yan mangyari sa group prayer, yung true spiritual experience, multimedia, multidimension. Pero mas mahirap mangyari. Kasi iba-iba ang isip ng mga tao, iba-ibang iniisip nila, iba-ibang taste nila, kaya mas madaling mangyari yan sa private prayer. Ang sarap kung meron kang kagrupo na mag-pray, kayo ang laging magpe-pray na nagkakaintindihan na kayo, iisa na ang pintig ng inyong puso, iisa na ang inyong language, whether it is verbal or non-verbal, then maganda makipag-pray together with such a group. Pero kailangan na-develop nyo na yung unity of spirit, unity of the bodies around, para yan ay magkaroon ng sense to everyone present. So Jesus prayed in quiet places. Luke 5:16, but Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. In fact, what is so interesting is this. Ano talaga ang nangyayari pag nagpe-pray si Jesus in private? Hindi naman sinabi, walang nagsabi, kasi wala naman nakakita dahil private nga. Dahil yung prayer niya ay private. Yung sinasabing pagkahaba-habang prayer niya sa John 17, dapat reviewin kung gaano talaga ka-personal yung prayer na yon. Dahil bakit naman nalaman nung nagsulat ko nung pinag-pray ni Jesus, nag-iisa naman si Jesus. Ang haba-haba pa, complete sentences, very complex. In-interpret kaya yan ng mga writers later. In-imagine nila, tapos in-interpret nila, o meron silang basis for thinking na pinag-pray ni Jesus, tapos di-restate na lang nila in sentences that could be understood by people. Kasi wala naman nag-record, nakarinig ng prayer niya sa Book of John. That's a very interesting study. So mga kapatid, let's open our hearts, our minds, to the possibilities of the Jesus prayer outside of the traditional understanding that we have. Dahil bakit pag nagpe-pray siya, nangyayari talaga yung pinagpe-pray niya. Pag nag-uutos siya sa hangin, sumusunod yung hangin. There must be something happening during his prayer, in his prayer, that's still unknown to us. Kasi nag-assume na tayo na intindihan natin yung prayer. May mga konti in the past na nag-assume na naintindihan nila, itinuro sa atin at nilulunan natin yung turo nila. Hindi na tayo nag-iisip para sa sarili natin. Kaya mga prayer natin ngayon, mechanical, scripted, traditional. Kasi wala na nag-iisip na, hey, teka, tama ba tayong mag-pray? Ito ba talaga ang pinag-pray? Ganito ba talaga dapat mag-pray? Dapat i-question yan. Kasi kung tama ang pag-pray natin, dapat napaka-powerful ng ating spiritual life. So review. Develop your own personal style. At magagawa mo lang yan if you pray in private. Jesus prayed in quiet places, in the evening, or very early morning. That's very interesting. Yun na naman schedule ang pagpe-pray ni Jesus. Mark 1:35, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. So nandito lang yung mga element, privacy, quiet place, malamang bundok na naman ito, tapos very early in the morning. Well, aside from the practical implications and the practical reasons, kasi baka marami siyang gagawin ng araw na yon, marami siyang pupuntahan, marami siyang pagagalingin, tuturuan. So yung prayer niya, ginawa na niya very early para matapos na at mauna na. At hindi lang basta early, very early, para hindi niya madaliin. Kahit humaba yung prayer niya, humaba yung time ng pakikipagnig niya sa Ama, hindi niya kailangan putulin dahil ayan na yung schedule niya for the day. But interestingly, ang mga prayer ni Jesus are very early in the morning, or madaling araw, or gabi, o humahapon at dumidilim. Luke 6:12. One of those days, Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray and spent the night praying to God. So, magdamag na nagpe-pray, pero mag-isa. Ngayon naman, maraming pinapauso na prayer vigil, pero ang daming tao. Ito, mag-isa siya nagpe-pray. Wala namang masama siguro kung mag-grupo kayo at mag-pray kayo magdamag, pero ang binodel ni Jesus was a private prayer. There is really something about the time and the timing of the Jesus prayer. There is something about the time and the timing of ancient prayer. At hindi naman katakataka. Kasi sa Ecclesiastes 3:1, there is a right time for everything, and everything on earth will happen at the right time. Is there a right time for personal prayer? Well, study your personal circumstance. Siguro kung ano ba ang schedule mo, may trabaho ka ba, merong bang oras ang buhay mo, de oras, so i-adjust mo yung prayer life. Pero ang mahalaga, it has enough time to happen naturally without being hurried or without being cut. Prayer is powerful. Prayer is a great force. Probably the greatest force known to us or unknown to us. When done and employed correctly, prayer can override natural law. Prayer can actually ask for a miracle. Maraming nangyaring ganyan. Prayer. They asked Jesus na iligtas sila sa bagyo. Jesus made a miracle. Maraming mga examples in the Bible, pati sa ating mga personal lives. Kung may natural law, halimbawa, gravity, malulunod ka dahil may law of gravity, may law of buoyancy, pero merong prayer that can override natural law. Hindi natin alam kasi kung kailan tatalab yung prayer that overrides natural law at kailan ang mangingibabaw ay natural law no matter how much you pray. So ang gawin mo, do whatever natural law requires, do your best, get to the very end of what you can do as a human being, and then pray. Pinaghalo mo yung dalawa. Hindi mo kasi alam kung kailan yung natural law lang ang tatalab. Hindi mo alam kung pwedeng i-override yun with prayer. So, sundin mo yung natural law. Gusto mo lumusog, do what it takes naturally na maging malusog, tapos mag-pray ka pa. O may sakit ka, do what is naturally available. Magpagamot ka, gawin mo lahat ng mga protocols na alam ng science, tapos mag-pray ka pa. Tapos sinabihan ka ng science, may taning ng buhay mo, wala ka ng pag-asa, o mamamatay ka na dyan, mag-pray ka, humingi ka ng himala. Kasi ginawa yan ng maraming tao, kahit sa Bible, at sa ating buhay sa paligid natin. At alam nating may mga prayer na tinugon na override ang natural law, humaba yung buhay ng tinaningan. So gawin mo pareho. Yun ang maganda dun. When done and employed correctly, your prayer can be more forceful than natural law. We know of verses and records in the Bible when the sun even stopped from going down. Kasi humingi, nagpe-pray sila Joshua na huwag lumubog ang araw at hindi lumubog. Meron pa nga na bumalik pa nga yung araw 10 steps doon sa kanilang orasan, yung mga steps na dinadaanan ng liwanag ng araw, umatras pa. Why not? God is God of nature, God of the universe, God of all creation. Pwede naman niya yan i-rewrite, pwede niyang isuspend, pwede niyang bilisan, pwede niyang iksian, pwede niyang habaan. Nasa Diyos yan. Pero ang tanong ay, ika-grant ba niya yung prayer mo? Kaya dapat maintindihan natin yung mechanics, dynamics talaga ng prayer. What prayer gets answered? Yes. What prayer gets answered? No. What prayer gets answered? Maybe. What prayer gets answered later? Ano dapat nating unawain? At ang disadvantage ng corporate prayer, ng organized prayer, wala kang panahon to explore for yourself what kind of prayer works for you. What kind of posture, what kind of timing, what kind of wording, how you communicate with God, that can be developed in private prayer. So again, why don't you develop group prayer, make a grupo ka, and develop personal prayer. Best of both worlds ang mangyayari sa iyong buhay. At huwag tatamad-tamad na lagi nalang nagpapapray sa iba. Pastor, ipag-pray niyo po ako, may sakit ako. Ba't di ka makapag-pray sa sarili mo? Ba't di ka mag-pray? Ba't kailangan mo ko utusan para mag-pray for you? Pero sige na nga, para masaya ka, ipagpe-pray kita. Tsaka love kasi kita, ipagpe-pray kita. Pero kailangan nagpe-pray ka rin. O kailangan ikaw ang pangunahin nagpe-pray. Kasi sa pag-develop ng religion, sa pag-develop ng corporate religion, nagkaroon ng mga corporate prayer leaders. Yung bang may prayer department. Kailangan mo ng prayer department. Dapat everybody prays. May mga prayer warrior talaga. Bakit pati prayer magiging war? Hindi mo pwede yung peaceful praying. Kailangan pa talaga war. Yung nakikipagbakbakang ka sa demonyo, nakikipagbuno ka sa demonyo, always pictures of war. Sabi sa Bible, resist the devil and he will flee from you. Hindi naman tayo sirbihang fight the devil You cannot fight the devil kasi ang lakas-lakas nun. Ang sabi lang, resist the devil in the name of Jesus. Hindi mo siya kailangang makipagbuno ka. Yung pitikin mo lang yan. Sabihan mo lang umalis in the name of Jesus. Hindi mo kailangan makipag-boxing sa kanya at makipag-karate-karate sa kanya kasi hindi mo kaya yun. Pero resist the devil and he will flee from you. So ang prayer talagang kailangan gawing fight, kailangan gawing war. Masyado naman kasing warlike yung mga ibang religious style natin Lagi nakaka-stress, lagi nilang may demonyo, lagi nilang labanan. Hindi mo pwede mag-pray quietly, calmly, tulad ng pagpe-pray ni Jesus. Well, there's nothing wrong siguro with being a prayer warrior. Pero ang tanong ko lang, hindi mo pwede maging prayer ambassador para peaceful? Kasi si Jesus is the way of peace. Bakit kailangan tayong mag-stress? Lagi na lang tayong warlike, lagi nakakapagod yun So, tahimik lang na prayer. Can you develop that? Magandang pag-aralan at magandang subukan. So, importante, i-develop ang personal life. Humingi ng mga himala kung gusto, kung kailangan. But of course, begin with natural law. Of course, normally, stick to natural law. Bago ka humingi ng himala, gawin mo muna ang lahat na magagawa mo bilang tao. At the end of what you can do, doon mo nalang hingin ang himala. Pero, huwag tayong sobrang mahumaling din sa natural law na malilimutan na natin na yes, may himala, yes, may prayer, at maraming unknown sa prayer. Ang dami pa. Wala naman kasi masyado nakapag-develop niyang prayer sa kanyang buhay dahil in the last 2,000 years of Christianity, all sekta, all grupo of Christianity, regulated ng church yung prayer. Pati kung ano ipagpe-pray, paano magpe-pray, kailan magpe-pray. Kaya walang nakadevelop ng personal prayer life. It's time na makadevelop tayo niyan. Magising tayo sa katotohanan. Huwag nating blindly, mechanically, robotically, ulit-ulitin yung itinuro ng mga nauna sa atin sa church. Kasi namana din lang nila yun sa nauna sa kanila. So at the end of the day, generation to generation of prayer and prayer people, yun pala, meron lang isang umimbento nun somewhere in the past. Kung anong right niya na mag-imbento, right din natin ngayon to reinvent it because we all have personal correspondence with God. Develop prayer. But kailangan Spirit-led. When Spirit-led, when empowered, prayer of faith, it can move mountains. Remember, prayer can move mountains. It goes against natural law. May hangganan din ang natural law. Hindi lahat pang natural law lang. Kaya natin ine-emphasize to observe natural law, to follow natural law, to respect natural law. Kasi marami mga tao hyper-spiritual. Inuuna na nila, himala na muna bago nila gawin yung dapat gawin. May sakit, ayaw uminom ng gamot. May sakit, ayaw uminom ng mga tamang pampagaling. May sakit, ayaw magpalakas ng katawan, ayaw magpahinga. Dadaanin sa prayer. So, yan ang ine-emphasize natin ng natural law. Mag-natural law ka muna. Pero, hindi lang lahat natural law. Meron ding himala. Meron ding unknown. So, be good at both. Sa pag-observe ng natural law at sa paniniwalang yes, prayer can move mountains. Prayer can actually circumvent natural law, can even overpower it. Pero kailangan yun, prayer of faith, prayer that is really in accordance with the will of God for natural law to be superseded by the power of faith. Mark 11:23. And if you have no doubts in your mind and believe that what you say or what you pray will happen, then God will do it for you. So you see, pwedeng madaig ng isip, ng thought, ang physical world. Pwedeng madaig ng faith, ang natural law. Magandang i-develop yan. Matthew 17:20-21, he replied, "You cannot do it because you have so little faith. Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." So prayer is very much about one's personal spirituality. Ang hirap naman magkuha ng average and communal spirituality kung 5 kayo nagpe-pray together. Paano kung merong isa doon ang bababa ng faith? Ibababa niya ang average sa inyong lahat. Kaya mahalaga makadevelop ng personal prayer. James 5:16, the prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. But only when you allow that person to pray alone. Kasi kung meron siyang kasama sa grupo, mabababa ang faith, bababa yung general average of faith ng grupo. Kaya ang sabi ng isang version, anyone who lives the way God wants can pray and great things will happen. Kailan tayo nagpapapray sa iba? Hindi lang pag tinatamad tayo. Pag talagang alam natin na mababa yung faith natin sa oras na ito, mahina, tapos alam natin na merong malakas yung faith niya, mataas yung faith niya, hindi doon tayo magpa-pray para yung prayer niya ang madinig. Siguro, yan ang isa sa mga importance ng intervention. Yun na nanalangin ka para sa iba. Yung pagka sobrang hina ng pananalig nila, hindi sila makapray. O sobrang silang involved sa issues nila na hindi sila makafocus how to pray. That's when the prayer of another person is important and useful. Pero huwag natin gawing bisyo na lagi nagpapapray sa iba. Kailangan tayo ang kauna-unahan nagpe-pray, dinedevelop natin ang ating personal prayer life. So pray. Whatever you know about prayer, whatever your attitude about it is, whatever your belief about it could be, just pray. You cannot go wrong praying. Pray in public if you must. At may mga event na kailangan talaga yun. Pray with others if you must. But your most important prayer is your private prayer. Learn how to pray by private tutorial from and by the Holy Spirit. It can happen most effectively when you are alone. This is why it is best to pray in private. At kung may bundok pa, the additional bonus. Dahil hindi pa nga natin naintindihan kung anong role noon, kung meron, di gamitin mo. Unknown to you or known to you, it will work kung nananalig ka. Tapos kung meron ka pang oras ng gabi, magdamag, o may oras kang very early in the morning, di gamitin mo yung schedule na yun kasi yun ang minodel ni Jesus. Wala naman sigurong mawawala sa yung sundin mo yun. Kung kaya mong sundin, and if your personal circumstance allows that kind of schedule. Find your best and your most suitable prayer time, prayer place, and prayer language in form. But in any way and in every way, pray. Just pray. God bless us all.